Have you ever felt like you're just shouting into a void when you're dealing with your credit? It can feel so confusing, sometimes completely hopeless. But what if the problem isn't really your situation, but the actual words you're using? Okay, let's get into this, because today we're going to show you how fixing your credit is less about some secret formula and way more about learning to speak a very specific language.
We've all had a version of this moment, haven't we? That sting of a card getting declined, that wave of shame and just frustration. It's such a low point, and it's right where our source material kicks off. And you know it's not about the pizza. Of course not. It's about feeling completely powerless against a system that feels like it's designed to be confusing.
And this gets to the absolute heart of it. On the left, you've got a real, valid, human plea. But financial systems, well, they're just not built to understand that. They're built to process specific, formal, almost robotic requests. Making that little shift from "please help me" to a phrase like "I am writing to dispute," that's the key that unlocks the whole thing.
I love this metaphor. It's perfect, right? You're not trying to trick the system or game it. You're just learning which buttons to press. When you use the right keyword, you're basically helping the employee on the other end do their job. You're getting your request sent to the right department instead of getting stuck in a customer service loop.
So let's dive into this secret language. We're going to look at the exact phrases that can totally change how credit bureaus and lenders look at your file. It's all about turning you from just a vague problem into a specific case that they can actually take action on.
So the source points to these 11 terms as your complete toolkit for credit recovery. And yeah, I know, it looks like a lot. Don't worry, we're not going to dissect every single one today. Instead, we're going to zoom in on the 3 most powerful, most versatile terms that you can start using right away.
All right, welcome to your starter toolbox. Let's break down the 3 essential, multi-purpose tools that can help you handle a huge range of the most common credit issues out there. First up is the goodwill adjustment. This is your go-to for when, you genuinely messed up, but you have a pretty good history with that lender otherwise. You aren't denying you were late. You're politely asking for a one-time pass, a little bit of grace based on your track record. It frames the mistake as a blip, not a pattern. Next, we have the heavyweight champion, dispute inaccurate information. What's so important to get about this one is that this is your legal right. This isn't about feelings or fairness, it's about facts. If something on your report is flat out wrong or incomplete or they just can't prove it's true, using this exact phrase triggers a formal legal investigation. And finally, debt validation. When a collection agency gets in touch, your very first move shouldn't be to argue or explain. It's to use this phrase. You are simply asking them to prove, with paperwork, that the debt is real and that they actually own it. You would be shocked how often they can't, which can stop the whole collection process in its tracks. Okay, so knowing the words is one thing. Using them effectively is a whole other ballgame. So let's take a look at how you actually put these keywords to work in your letters and on the phone. This comparison just says it all, doesn't it? The before is an emotional story. The after is a precise, factual, almost surgical request. Now, which one do you think gets routed to the right department for an actual investigation? The second one is colder, for sure, but it is way more effective. It's the language the system is literally built to understand. So, how do you write that effective letter? It's really just a simple 3-step recipe. 1. Start with exactly what you want. 2. Use the powerful keyword that fits what you're asking for. And 3. Back it all up with short, factual points and any proof you have. That's it. Clear, direct, and professional. Now, besides the words you use, there's a number that speaks just as loudly to the system, and that's your credit utilization ratio. It's just a fancy term for the percentage of your available credit that you're currently using. If that number's high, like this 85% here, it flashes like a giant warning light to lenders. It signals risk, even if you've never missed a single payment. Getting this number down is one of the fastest ways to see your score go up. I know this whole thing can feel like a long, messy, and confusing journey, but the source material actually lays out a pretty clear and predictable roadmap. This isn't chaos, it's a process, and it has distinct stages. So just take a second and look at this timeline. Find yourself on this map. Maybe you're in stage 1, the crisis, feeling that shame we talked about. Well, the good news is stage 2 is clarity, and that's literally what you are doing right now by watching this. From there, it's on to action, and then finally recovery. The win isn't jumping to the end.
The win is just moving one box to the right. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. But knowledge without action, well, it doesn't really change anything, does it? So let's talk about what you can do. Not someday, not next week, but in the next 15 minutes.
Remember that utilization ratio we just mentioned? Here is your target, your magic number. You want to aim to keep your credit card balances below 30% of your total limit. It's a simple, powerful number that the credit scoring algorithms understand instantly. You don't have to get there tomorrow, but making that number your North Star is a huge, huge step.
And let this one really sink in. The system you're dealing with, it doesn't have feelings. It doesn't care how unfair things feel or how hard you're trying. It responds to data, to keywords, and to numbers. Your job is to focus your energy on the things the system is actually designed to see and measure.
So we'll end with this question. The system isn't some big, scary mystery anymore. It's a machine, and it responds to specific inputs. You now have the vocabulary, the keywords, to communicate with it clearly. So whether it's drafting a goodwill letter or requesting debt validation, the power is in choosing that first, precise word. The only question is, what will yours be?